mean? Are we saying that LeBron is happy with the Lakers? Are we saying that he's ending his career with the Lakers? That there is something baked into this deal, invisible, that we don't see, but only LeBron and Rich Paul see? I don't know. But LeBron is tied to the Lakers for 2 years and essentially $100 million. Kurt Helin, when you saw this extension, first thought, hey, what? Oh, of course, surprise. What was your thought when you heard about this?
It was not surprised. This was LeBron. I wouldn't even say I was expected this. This was LeBron choosing family and his life over putting the kind of pressure he put on Cleveland, the kind of pressure he put on Miami, the threat of moving. He's a more settled person now. I mean, like, this was a LeBron James who said, you know what, my family's really happy here. Bronny's in school. All their kids are in school and really happy here. Family's settled. Production company's here. Post-career life is here. Dude, I'm just going to take the $100 million and tell them I want better players. Go tell them to go spend the picks and get guys. But I'm not going to leverage it the same way, because I think he's just – Michael, is he just in a better – I don't say better, different place in his life where that's maybe going all in the same way isn't the same thing for him anymore.
Do you think that he is on board with what's happened in Los Angeles so far? I mean, just recently, for whether it's, Darvin Ham as a head coach and their decision, apparently, I guess they were forced to make this decision to hold on to Russell Westbrook. Do you think that he looks at this and says, okay, I like it. I'm good. We can win with this?
No, he's too smart for that. No. Look, is he on board with Darvin Ham? I think so. I think that he's on board with. Darvin's well respected around the league. Is he on board with Russell Westbrook still being there and them not being able to get Kyrie Irving or make kind of considerable other upgrades to this roster? No, he's not. And he said as much. He basically, if you noticed, they had a meeting on August 4th, the first day that he theoretically could have signed this extension. And a couple days later, the report comes out like, yeah, the Lakers will put both picks in now to get Kyrie Irving. Like, they only have two. The problem is they have those two picks. They don't really have, and Talon Horton-Tucker. Like, they just don't have much other teams want. It's almost not enough to get a Westbrook off the books. But he's not okay with it. I still think you're going to see Laker moves. There's rumors about Bogdanovich and Beverly out of Utah, and what they'd have to give up there. There were the rumors before about Hield and Turner out of Indiana. They're still going to make moves. This roster isn't good enough. The problem, Michael, is, let's say you get Bogdanovich and Beverly, or you get, I think, a slightly better package for them with Turner and Hield, because Turner's kind of fills a need. Are they still contenders? Are they contenders yet? No. They're better. They're good, but they're not knocking on the door with Memphis and Phoenix and Golden State and everybody else in the West. Like, they're just the Clippers. They're not as good as the team across the hall, which is going to start to really eat at Laker fans this year.
And you know what, Kurt? Yeah, you bring up a point that is kind of off the LeBron topic, but I can, look at it from his angle. On one hand, yeah, he kind of created the situation that they're in. He was on board for Russell Westbrook. Initially, he was pushing, he and Rich Paul pushed for Anthony Davis to be in Los Angeles. And now, Anthony Davis and his injury concerns outside of the championship year have been a real issue. But if I'm LeBron, I look at Rob Pelinka and say, hey, why aren't you more creative when it comes to draft compensation, draft picks? Because other teams, like Brooklyn has been dead a couple of times. We'll talk about Brooklyn in a second. But after they gave up everything to get Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, they kind of came back and they got some first-round picks. They came back and they were they restocked. And they built up the value of some players that they were worthy of first-round picks. And then they did it again. They traded a bunch of first-rounders away, but then they're starting to get some back. Why it seems like the Lakers are just looking at what's in the cupboard, and they're not using any type of imagination to see how they could create value now or in the very near future that would be attractive to other teams. You agree with that?
Absolutely. They haven't ever been, I mean, they've been better at player development in recent years, but they don't. Brooklyn went out and found Spencer Dinwiddie and Karis LeVert and Jarrett like they found guys, right? And developed them into guys that you could trade. The Lakers, look, they've done a nice job with Austin Reeves. I would say that they developed Ingram and Ball, but I mean, they also drafted them second. Like, like they,
right.
It's like
how much credit we're going to give you for taking a guy at the top of the draft, right?
Yeah, exactly. They haven't been great at finding those gems, and frankly, it was something they used to be good at, right? Like back in the day when they were drafting 27th every year, and they were like, "Hey, let's get AC Green." Like, let's get. They used to find guys and be able to bring them up. They just haven't been that franchise for a while, and it holds them back in situations like this because right now the cupboard's really bare. Like, I mean, they can try to trade Kendrick Nunn, but he just took a whole season off. Like, yeah, he's a nice player. Haven't seen him in a year. Like, how much are you going to get for him? They get their hands tied in these situations. They've not been creative. And by the way, they're a little hamstrung when you start comparing him to Brooklyn. Joe Tsai is going to have a pushing $400 million pay. He and the Clippers and the Warriors are outspending the mom and pop Lakers right now. The Lakers generate a lot of revenue. They are the biggest brand in the league, but the Buss family doesn't have that background. Hey, they don't have the Microsoft money sitting behind them. They can just pull in. So there's a cap on what they can spend compared to some of these other teams. And I think that's going to catch up with them a little down the line as well.
So let's talk about a team that has a bare cupboard, the Lakers, to a team that has a bunch of first-round picks. Danny Ainge just collects them. Now, he's like a first-round pick collector, but he doesn't want to spend them. He just like collects them and he hoards them. And let me see how many I can get. And he goes there and he counts. Okay, we got a bunch of them. So the Utah Jazz now, they got a lot from Minnesota and the Rudy Gobert deal. And they're probably going to get a lot more if they wind up trading Donovan Mitchell. What do you think is going to happen there? I know Mitchell's not happy with the direction that the Jazz are going. How's this situation resolve itself?
The Knicks and Jazz eventually figure this out. What you've got look, that Gobert trade, I'm not going to use the word this is a family-friendly show, so I will say upended the market, screwed the market a little bit.
Right.
There was I mean, 3 unprotected, 1 top 4 protected, basically this year's number 22 pick. So basically 5 first-round picks, plus a swap and everything else. Rudy Gobert. Well, Durant's worth more than that, which messes the whole Durant trade up. But frankly, Mitchell, younger, more dynamic on the wing, is probably as or more valuable. And suddenly the Knicks don't want to give up. Look, they also want to make moves after Mitchell. They knew if they get Donovan Mitchell and they pair him with Jalen Brunson, and they've got, look, whatever you think of RJ Barrett, he can play a little. Maybe Julius Randle bounces back. They've got Grimes, who everybody likes. You start to build something there. They're not contenders, right? They're not there. They know that they've got to make future moves. They don't want to give up all those picks. And Leon Rose, to his credit, has not done the Knicks thing of just like, hey, let's just overpay to get him. Let's just get him here. They've been patient. Danny Ainge is being patient, but I think eventually, who else are they going to dance with? You want Tyler Hero and a couple picks out of Miami? I'd rather have those Knicks picks, because between Miami and New York, Michael, which franchise is more likely to screw it up?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we know that. Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.